Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes Reacts. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm only Office Bloke Dance.
Collectively, we can be found on OnlyFans. Now they've reversed the ban.
Yeah.
Naughty content still.
Is Mike still filming that?
Yeah, that's where Mike is today. Yeah, he's in the other studio filming for his OnlyFans. Calm down, Lee. We are the Office Blokes. We've got 2 other YouTube channels, Patreon page, social media.
Lee's just minimised this and gone straight in and he's typing away.
It's got 2 PC. Multitasking. 2 other YouTube channels, Patreon page, social media merch, all that stuff. Give us a like and a follow everywhere. It doesn't cost you anything. Head over to Patreon, sign up, all that good stuff.
£1.50.
£1.50. Link below will take you where you need to go. Simple as that. Right, Dumb Ways to Die, British edition.
Dumb Ways to Die? I don't know. Ways to Die.
I don't know. This has got to be like pure stupidity.
Yeah, I'm thinking stunt's gone wrong.
That could be one. That could be one. I'm going to take a punt. No. I'm trying to. There's things in my head, but I don't want to be like.
It'd be things like people getting like a JCB digger or something, and climbing out the window to wipe it, from the other side on a high rise and stuff
also
like that.
the sort of Darwin Awards, that sort of thing. Yeah, I get you. We'll get into it then. Dumb Ways to Die, British edition. Let's do this.
Compared to their American cousins, the United Kingdom can seem like a sleepy place.
But
that doesn't mean some UK citizens haven't done ridiculous things with deadly consequences. It's Dumb Ways to Die, UK edition. No one here has been eaten by Nessie, though, that we know of. Is there any less threatening activity than relaxing with a nice cool drink on a hot summer day? Well, for one woman in Dorset, it turned out to be fatal. Retired jockey Elena Struthers-Gardner was carrying a mason jar drinking glass with a screwed-on top, and she had a metal straw attached. When the 60-year-old woman, who had histories of falls and injuries, suddenly collapsed, the angle of the hard metal straw impaled her through the eye and caused a fatal brain.
What?
See, when I said I didn't know ones to guess, I didn't want to call people dumb that had died, if you know what I mean, because that's rough.
But if you're old and you've got a history of falling over, and you're carrying something like that,
glass is bad enough, isn't it? But yeah, can you imagine finding her as a family member, and it'd be like a murder scene, wouldn't it?
Did you ever sip of the straw first? Would you like,
brain
juice?
Jury. The authorities ruled out any intoxication and issued a warning that metal straws can come with the side of death instead of refreshment. This next unfortunate Brit found out that danger lurks everywhere, even the countryside. Mike Edwards was a minor celebrity, an acclaimed cellist, music teacher, and former member of the Electric Light Orchestra. At 62, he didn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon, but nature had other plans. While he was driving down the road near his home in Devon, something began rolling down a nearby hill. It was a massive hay bale, weighing at least 1,300 pounds. It crashed into the van, killing him instantly. The people responsible for the hay bale went on trial and were found not guilty, but many of Edwards' fans were less forgiving. At least this next guy went out on a high. It was the 1970s, and the TV show The Goodies had everyone.
Them guys that were on trial, do you know what they got?
Go on.
Bail.
I was racking my brains thinking, what was it going to be? But I was thinking of hay. Dreadful.
This next guy went out on a high. It was the 1970s, and the TV show The Goodies had everyone in stitches, but one man enjoyed it a little too much. Alex Mitchell of Norfolk burst out in hysterical laughter while watching, and then proceeded to keel over from a massive heart attack. While no cause of death was determined, his wife was philosophical, thanking the TV program for giving her husband so much joy in his last minutes.
No cause of death was after he had a heart attack and died.
It was never that funny, The Goodies, neither, was it?
I've never watched it.
Probably before your time. It was like Bill Oddie and Graham.
All British kids' TV shows where it's just all like mulleted white men in suits, I find so creepy nowadays.
It is creepy.
It's just, I can't watch them. No offense to half of the guys.
I remember it as a kid, it wasn't funny. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
But a key to his death came decades later, when his granddaughter died of a similar heart attack, pointing to an undiagnosed heart condition as the cause, meaning Mitchell's heart may have been a ticking time bomb.
What was she
this
watching?
This next man probably should have listened to his mom. Chew your food, eat slowly. We've all heard that from Mom. But 51-year-old Darren Hickey didn't listen. When the wedding planner sampled a fish cake, he gulped it down quickly, only for the scalding hot fried morsel to burn his throat. He was in massive pain and he went to the hospital. They sent him home with painkillers. While relaxing at home, his throat began to swell up and he couldn't breathe. His partner rushed him to the hospital, but he died soon after from lack of oxygen. And fish cake was probably not on that menu. But he wasn't the only person killed by an unassuming piece of food. It was the late 1800s, and Sir William Payne Galway was a powerful man. A retired member of Parliament and a baronet, he was looking forward to enjoying his retirement. He particularly liked to hunt and was able to snipe animals from afar without being endangered by them. But his undoing would come from something much more harmless, a turnip. While out hunting one day, he tripped and the pointed turnip at his feet hit him in the wrong location. He died a short time later from severe internal injuries at the age of 74. A bizarre end to a successful life.
What did he die of?
He tripped over a turnip, and I think he landed
turnip?
on it. I think he landed on it in a way that's giving him internal injuries.
I wonder what he was saying. I thought he said turn up.
Turnip. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that one. I think once you get past a certain age and people, when you fall over and he's had a fall rather than he's fallen over, turnips can take you out. Turnips be crazy. You got to be careful.
Should have gone in the parsnip field. He's still here.
This next man probably should have just gotten a new phone. It was 2018 and Atif Rafiq just wanted to see a movie. But while he was watching, his phone slipped out of his hand and became wedged under the electric.
I know this. This has just been settled now.
Really?
He went down after the film finished. I think he went under the seat, and it was an electric seat, and it came back on it and squashed him.
Really?
Him. Yeah.
Oh.
It's only just like 2 weeks ago. It got the case was settled type thing, and the cinema had to pay.
So I guess it's negligence then.
Yeah, it was, because it didn't have any kind of like cut off on it.
That's like the Peloton treadmills recently, isn't it?
I don't know.
They're kind of curved like that, and they don't stop when something goes under it.
Oh, really?
And a toddler went behind it and went under it.
Did it come out the other end?
I'm not sure if they got killed or severely damaged or what, but Peloton recalled all of their treadmills.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know Peloton did treadmills.
Don't anymore.
Footrest of his chair. That's why the dancing popcorn tells you to silence your phones, people. Rafiq probably could have sought help from a theater worker. Instead, he tried to stick his head under the footrest, and the electronic seat trapped his head. The authorities had to break the seat to get Rafiq free, and by then the unfortunate cinephile had died of cardiac arrest. This next man was an innovator, but
So it's gone back.
It's the leg rest. I think it went under, and when it come back into its position, it was electric. Coming back into its position, he'd gone under the seat to get his phone, and his head got crushed.
Jesus.
I think it might have been View, one of the cinema chains, and it was they had to pay I think £500,000.
What way to go. God, I'm not enjoying this video at all.
didn't work out too well for him. Robert Cocking made his name as a watercolor artist, but he was also an amateur scientist and tinkerer. And in 1837, he was working on an improved version of the parachute. He intended to demonstrate his new design using a cone-shaped chute at a festival in Vauxhall Gardens. A large...
No, I haven't. I'm thinking of the guy that jumps off the Eiffel Tower. He'd invented a new form of parachute or something, and
try this out for me.
Didn't go well. Did not go well for him. He died.
The crowd watched as Cocking jumped from 5,000 feet in a hot air balloon. But Cocking had miscalculated the weight of the parachute and he fell far too fast. The parachute turned inside out and Cocking crashed and was killed instantly. Well, every experiment has its trial and error, but some can only go wrong once. This next man died in the most mundane way possible. Or did he? George Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, was a prominent aristocrat with an adventurous spirit. He liked to fund expeditions to Egypt, most famously the search for the tomb of King Tut. It was there in Cairo where he met his end. He received a nasty mosquito bite on March 19, 1923, and then made the mistake of cutting it open while shaving. It became infected and he died soon afterward of blood poisoning. An unfortunate end, but this and many other deaths surrounding King Tut expeditions have led people to wonder if those who entered the ancient tomb were cursed. Strange deaths didn't just start in the Victorian era either. Corpus Christi College in Cambridge was a well-regarded school, and in 1667 it was under the strict eye of Master John Spencer. He kept a tight leash on his students, including his daughter Elizabeth. But Elizabeth was rebellious and had gotten into the habit of sneaking her paramour, John Betts, into her room. When John Spencer suddenly entered his daughter's room, she shoved John Betts into a cupboard and was then hurried away by her father. By the time she had returned, the unfortunate John Betts had asphyxiated in the wardrobe. leading to rumors that he and Elizabeth haunt the college to this day. In the 13th...
How well made was that wardrobe if it's airtight? Or do you think they were... do you think they were experimenting with some weird things?
Possibly. Oh, the other guy, the dad got in there first.
Yeah, strangled him and put him in there.
Yeah, stuffed him in there,
yeah. That's where I'd go with that, to be fair. Especially in a prestigious college like that where people aren't going to prison.
Yep.
One unfortunate king discovered that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Griffith ap Llewellyn ap Iorwerth was heir to the Welsh throne, but this time was full of upheaval. He had been taken hostage by King John of England until he was released by the signing of the Magna Carta. Upon his return, he had been replaced in the line of succession by his younger half-brother. He was imprisoned in the Tower of London, and in 1244 he decided to escape. He attempted to use a rope made of sheets and other garments to descend the tower, but he was a heavy man, not helped by years of imprisonment, and the rope soon snapped, getting him down from the tower in record speed, with a very abrupt stop at the end. At least this next guy died in the right place. It was 1872 and Henry Taylor was serving as a pallbearer at a funeral. The church service was finished and it was time to bring the coffin to the grave. But the day was rather wet and humid and the pallbearers had to navigate down a narrow and rocky path to the gravesite. At some point, Taylor tripped on a stone, losing control of the coffin. The other pallbearers were forced to let go as it twisted out of their hands, and it landed with full force on Taylor's chest and face. He died of his injuries, and the incident led to an investigation with recommendations for how to improve funeral safety. This man's quite...
I've carried a coffin before, and they are so heavy, it's unbelievable. It was my granddad who weighed nothing. And the thing is, all the other people carrying it were different heights. Yeah. I was the tallest out of the lot, so obviously I'm a bit higher than everyone. And then people's feet are out of sync with each other. We're constantly tripping over each other's ankles. The whole time I was like, it's a recipe for disaster, this.
I want them Ghanaian pallbearers.
The ones that dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the ones.
Yeah.
They'll be at my funeral.
Fair play. I just want to be chucked into the sea.
Yeah.
Hobby led to a fiery end. John Lewis lived a quiet life in Gloucestershire with his wife Patricia and was an avid gardener. But one day he mysteriously disappeared. A worried Patricia called the authorities after finding a burned lawnmower, but it was 2 weeks before John's body would be found. Forensic evidence pieced together the unfortunate story. John had been trying to light a bonfire and decided to hurry it up by pouring some gas. It worked. A little too well. The raging fire spread to his clothes and John tried to put it out by jumping in the river. Injured, he was likely swept away to his death. Sometimes a good thing can be a bad thing if you take it too far. Basil Brown was a popular English health food buff in the 70s, but he took things to the extreme. He was a strong advocate of vitamin A and beta-carotene as health supplements and was known to drink extreme amounts of carrot juice. When his skin started turning yellow, it should have been a...
Makes your hair ginger.
Carrots. Does, yeah, that's where gingers come from.
That's what I used to tell our kids that.
Is that why they stopped eating carrots?
Yeah. Instead of won't eat them, I said, he makes your hair ginger. last time they touched them.
Yeah.
Warning sign, but he didn't heed it and was dead at the end of 10 days from liver failure. This led to many people worrying if carrot juice could be too dangerous, but evidence shows that the culprit was the vitamin A supplements he took, 10,000 times the recommended dose. This hunter was in search of prey, but he met an unfortunate end. Stephen Winfrey was a veteran rabbit hunter using dogs and ferrets to drag the little critters out of their holes. But he was also a stubborn man and hated to see a good catch get away. He went off for a New Year's Day hunt near Doncaster and didn't return. When a search party was summoned, they found Winfrey in an awkward position with his head stuck in a rabbit hole, dead. Likely trying to get a tricky rabbit out of the hole. Winfrey got into a tight squeeze, and these holes aren't meant for a human head. Fashion and
yeah, you don't get the rabbit out with your teeth, though, do you? What are you going to grab it with when you wedge your head in there? Imagine if it turned out the rabbit had just kicked him to death.
Yeah.
He's stuck in it, just backheeling him.
Thumper.
Cleanliness is good, but not when taken to extremes. Jonathan Capewell was a lad obsessed with hygiene and was rarely seen without a deodorant spray. He was determined to eliminate any trace of body odor, using the sprays countless times a day. He was a teenager in good health, which is why it was a complete shock when he suddenly dropped dead of a heart attack. There was no obvious cause of death until the blood work came in. Turned out his blood had a massive buildup of butane and propane in it from the sprays, enough to stop his heart cold. A businessman should stand behind his own product, but that led to...
I know this one.
I'm not sure about that spray one. I think there's more to it than that.
I think there probably is. But, I mean, you can use deodorant safely a few times a day. It's not going to kill you, is it?
It might.
Yeah, no, but I think there's more to it.
Yeah,
I'm with you on
same.
that. This is the guy that invented the Segway, that went off a cliff on his Segway and died.
Why are you riding a Segway near a cliff?
He was outdoors, obviously, and he was going down a trail, and there was people walking the other way. And he's quite old. I think he was in his 70s or 60s.
He went to the side and then...
He went to the side, straight off a cliff, letting him go, and died. I remember reading about this one.
An unexpected end for one English millionaire. Jimmy Heselden became a household name in the early 2000s when he purchased the Segway company. He was a huge fan of those famous scooters, and he used his fortune from developing flood control and military barriers to grow the company. But he wouldn't have much time to develop it. Only 9 months after buying the company, he was out riding a Segway when he tried to get it out of the way of a man walking his dog. He had trouble stopping, and his Segway zoomed directly off a cliff. A tragedy and terrible publicity for the company he owned. Some deaths are just bizarre tragedies, but this guy was really testing fate. Nicholas Comper was a pioneer of English aviation, the founder of one of the biggest early aircraft companies in the years after World War I. But he was also a man with a temper and a sharp wit, and that came back to haunt him. A prankster, Comper was lighting fireworks in a pub in 1939. A passerby asked why he was doing it, and Comper jokingly announced he was an IRA bomber. With the conflict with the Irish no laughing matter for the English, the bystander acted swiftly, punching Comper thinking he was taking out a threat. Comper hit his head and died soon after of a hemorrhage. But how could someone die from sleeping? Mark Gleason of Hampshire had a happy life and a great relationship with his girlfriend Tracy. But there was just one problem. His horrible snoring was ruining both of their nights. The couple was at a loss for how to stop it, and one night they hatched a not-so-great idea. Mark took some wine with sleeping pills, and the groggy snorer came up with the idea to use some of Tracy's tampons to plug his nose. Unfortunately, the combination of sleeping pills and the obstructed sinuses led to Gleason asphyxiating in his sleep, a tragic and permanent end to his snoring. How do the Brits stack up against their American counterparts? Check out Dumb Ways to Die USA edition, or watch this video instead.
Tampons up the nose. I don't think he's much of a knob, but more of a fanny.
Wow. Yeah. They've done us proud there, a few of those people, definitely. But come on, mate.
I can't believe no one fell out of a window.
There'll be loads, but I guess there's probably too many to count. You know what should be on there is climbing a lamppost and then falling off.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Liverpool?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was in one of the videos we reacted to it. We had to cut the clip out.
No, I think it was similar.
Or was that a different one?
It was a similar thing, but I don't think that guy died.
Right.
Whereas the other one, he died. I think he impaled, didn't he?
I still cut the video out of our one. But yeah, I mean, the world's a dangerous place, isn't it? Especially if you're going to shove tampons up your nose, drink wine and take sleeping pills all at the same time.
That's suicide, that's not it, yeah.
Have you never heard of every rock star that's died in their sleep with a bottle of whiskey and sleeping pills
and
next to
tampons
them?
up the nose?
And tampons in places.
I wonder if he thought his nose was going to bleed.
That's just, crackers. Anyway.
Hope you guys enjoyed that too. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers. Guys.